Well, I mean, some writing comes out of pain, and some of that pain is loneliness, and so sometimes one writes more when one is living a monk-like existence. But that's not always true. I mean, I was married for 16 years, and I would call it a sexual relationship because it was, and I wrote a lot of songs, a lot of good ones during that time. So I don't think there's a hard and fast answer.
Very good, Dan.
Sorry.
God, you're hot when
He
you say
said
that.
hard.
He did.
And
fast. So Jewish.
You
So-
yes.
Am I sort of a Jewish cliche already with
Yeah,
the
I
music and
love
the
it.
baseball and
I love
I think
it.
I am. I think I'm a little bit of a Jewish cliche, but
You are.
I don't mind being a Jewish cliche. There's worse cliches to be.
That is so true.
Mm.
So how crazy is it being listed in the Wikipedia? I mean, is that been a dream of yours since childhood?
Well, if Wikipedia were around when I was a child, it would have been. If I could make it to the Encyclopedia Britannica,
See, I forgot about that already.
that's-
Isn't that awful?
Yeah, it's already pretty much gone.
Maybe we
That's
should have
crazy.
Jukepedia. And maybe
Jukepedia.
Maybe
I think there's
probably
actually some
is.
anti-Semites who do have Jukepedia.
Lovely.
So
Ouch.
Pass.
maybe we'll
Pass.
skip it.
If you had a dream venue, what would that be?
I want to play a stadium someday. Why not dream big, right?
Dude.
I mean, let's start with an arena. I'd like to headline, the hockey basketball arena type, XL or Target Center. Let's just go with that.
I'm sorry, don't we think the Twins Stadium?
Well, I mean,
that's
yeah,
on that
that
level,
would-
man.
I mean, and that's the thing, that I'm not at all nearly close to, big enough name to actually play a concert at Target Field, but to get to play at a Twins game like that, you could pretend that you were, and there were a lot of people there. So
I'm curious, how do they sound check for that? With that sort of,
just before people kind of get there, you're sort of starting early.
that blow your mind though. That sort of
Yes, it
comparison
does
to
blow your mind.
Like you're at
Yeah, that it's echoing,
Yeah, how
rippling.
freaking
Yeah,
cool.
but I've had other shows that were more nerve-wracking and more really more daunting than that. I mean, I've had some shows where because that was with my band too. Like when I have to go out and play solo in front of a theater crowd, that to me is more daunting. 'Cause I played at the Guthrie and the Fitzgerald, and I opened for some people there, and Loudon Wainwright the third. I opened for
Right.
him at the Guthrie. I opened for Kevin Costner, the actor, at the Guthrie.
Wow.
We hung out.
That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah, we talked. Kev and I.
Cool.
Do you go through a ritual before your shows?
I call him Kev. Not to
That's
his
your vibe.
face.
You guys
of
have that
course.
vibe.
Yeah. Dances with wolves.
Take us through before a show. Do you have what do you do before?
Few shots of vodka.
Awesome.
Wow.
No, I don't. Not
so awesome.
necessarily, but alcohol. You can see where people get kind of into alcohol as a performer because it does have a tendency
Calming.
to kind of loosen you up a little bit.
Liquid
But-
courage.
Yes,
Liquid
that's right.
courage.
That's right. So a big solo show, I might have a couple of drinks. Sure.
Beck and I were talking before we met with you. We were so curious to know sort of the difference between when you're playing solo or when you're with your band.
Yeah.
The different energy, the collaboration.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, I mean, a band, you have some cover. You're not naked out there. Playing solo, there's just absolutely no margin for error. So if you screw up, you just kind of have to own it and go on. I mean, with a band, yeah, you can screw up too, but a band, you tend to kind of, or at least I do, I tend to kind of, my energy focuses a little more towards them on the stage too. So sometimes I think it's a different thing for the audience because I'm not directly right there with the audience as much. I think it's maybe a little more.
I can see it would be easier.
Yeah, I think it's a little easier, but then at times I kind of like I'm a kind of a control freak, so having my guitar be the only thing I'm responsible for and my voice, that kind of feels good too.
But I suppose it's disturbing when everybody's looking not just at your package, but
Yeah.
at everybody else's.
That's right. I only want
Yeah.
them looking at mine.
Yeah, so that I
actually.
can get where you do the naked stuff a lot.
Yeah, I
Ladies
don't
and
actually
gentlemen, Becca.
perform naked.
Oh,
but,
that's right.
I've never tried that. Though I think the guitar would probably.
It could cover it good.
Probably
That's like the
be-
dude in Central Park, or no, in whatchamacallit, Times Square.
Oh,
the
yeah.
naked cowboy. Not really,
Yes,
you know.
yes.
Kind of covers it up.
Yeah, kind of.
Can you so
Gotta be
you
careful,
know,
though.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true. So one thing that I found kind of interesting was the whole vinyl, like vinyls, like are coming back.
Yeah, I did a vinyl.
How weird is
thing.
that? Or
Yeah,
is that-
it's cool. I mean,
Is it?
I did this Kickstarter thing a couple of years ago, and then that raised a bunch of money. You know, Kickstarter is like crowdfunding thing.
Yep.
So people were very generous, and I was able to put out I wasn't even intending to put out vinyl, but I ended up putting out a best of vinyl, 2 albums called Danthology. So if people want to look for Dan Israel, Danthology, if they want to hear me on vinyl, 2 albums.
Oh, that's so cool.
All
See it.
my biggest hits, all the ones that went straight to the top of Billboard.
Cool. You've had a few bands, like, so you had one Town Horse and you had Pottersfield. I'm kind of curious, me personally, I didn't know if Bobby was that curious, but I just like wondered where the names came from. Like I could get the Collaborators.
Yeah,
but
one Town Horse,
Cultivators,
that
whoa,
was
what
just,
was that?
you know, well,
Wow, sorry.
One Town Horse, that was my band in Chicago when I was in college. That was just, you know, flipping one horse town around and being goofy. Potter's Field, it had a lot of, you know, Potter's Field is actually like a graveyard for poor people or dispossessed or what. Yeah, that's the technical definition of what a Potter's Field is. So I've seen that phrase quite a bit ever since in hindsight, I wish we would have given ourselves a little more obscure name than that, because I've seen the phrase come up quite a bit. Right. And we were just trying to be dark and brooding, I guess. But Cultivators, yeah,
That's an easy one.
that was my band name for a long time. That was supposed to be positivity mixed with winking, reference to, you know, herbal substances. So
You guys are listening to us on live and social network. We are Not So Kosher. We have a really cool guy, Dan Israel, who is going to be playing a song coming up in a little bit. He also brought in some music. We're going to listen to that. Thank you again so much for coming into our program.
Yeah, thanks
Tell
for
us,
having me.
Your kids, do they know
What I do?
Yeah, I mean, like, are they influenced by that, or do they know what a big deal it is?
Yeah, my son, especially. Well, my son is 10 and my daughter's 7. My son, they're both very bright, and he's especially pretty aware of what I say, well, you know, your daddy, sometimes I'll kind of explain, you know, I didn't get such and such gig, you know, went to somebody else. And, you know, I said, I'm not that famous. He'll be like, no, Daddy, you are. You are so famous. So it's really cute.
Do they play?
But yeah, he's been taking trumpet lessons and getting good, and my daughter's taking piano lessons and getting really good.
Perfect.
So they've got
There's
the
your
music
band.
in them.
There's
Yeah,
your
they
next
love
band.
music, and I think we were going to try to get a karaoke machine this winter to get us through the winter, because they love singing to popular songs. So, but they like I've gotten them into, you know, classic rock. I've gotten them off of just the pop music and into the Who and stuff. So
wow,
I'm very proud of that.
That's interesting,
Yeah.
isn't it? Do you have like a favorite go-to song for your, you know, when you do karaoke? Are you a karaoke player? A
I
singer?
don't have a go-to karaoke song. I mean, I cover so many songs, but it would be the Stones, I'm sure, if I had to just pick something.
I would imagine you
Beast
could
of Burden,
you could
you
do
know.
any Tom Petty too.
I love my Petty.
I knew you.
I'm
loved
a
your
Petty freak. You
I was
can
going to
tell.
ask who's your rock hero?
Yeah, I think Tom Petty, you know, I've often said if you distill down everything that I love about Beatles, Dylan, Stones, everything, then if it all were crystallized into one artist, the best representative would be Tom Petty.
Very cool.
Of everything I like musically, the Byrds, REM, all that jangly kind of. I love that jangly rock. So
if you could do any duet with any person in the industry, who would be your partner? Who would you like to collaborate with?
if I could just pick anybody, do they have to be alive?
Alive or dead?
Oh, because then, you know, I would probably want to consider John Lennon.
Very cool.
You know?
Interesting.
Very cool.
If I could, yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah,
Imagine that.
Yeah, very good.
Had to do
Very
that.
good.
But as far as somebody alive, either McCartney or Dylan or Keith Richards.
When I listen to you, I hear so much of Himmelman and Dylan.
Yep.
And I think that you should think about the three of you doing an
Me
album.
and Peter and Bob.
Yeah, you'd be the three twins, and then you could add a splash of Westerberg in there.
I would love, that would be the ultimate supergroup for me.
There you go.
Peter and Bob. Oh, and then Westerberg? Yeah, well.
That.
That would be a supergroup. I mean, without me, it would be plenty super. But
no, I think we should
I
work
would love
on that.
to be involved. So
yeah, I think there should be an album put together for that, a vinyl.
I think it would go crazy gangbusters. So let's.
It would.
I'll
work on that.
You talk to your people.
Okay.
I can only talk to Peter because I don't really know the other guys.
Have you ever met Dylan?
Yes, sort of. I have a weird story about that. Do we have? I can make it quick.
Go
Absolutely
for it,
have time for a weird story.
When I moved to Austin, Texas in '92 after college, I moved down there to start Pottersfield, that band. And I started working at this temporary job, and this woman from the job one night, she said, "Come down to this building by the University of Texas campus. Come down there, and I can't even tell you anything else. Just come down there." I didn't even know what I was coming down there for. And there's this huge line down the block, and it turned out it was the Austin City Limits Studios, and it was Willie Nelson's 60th birthday party being recorded for CBS television. And she pulled me out of the back of the line. I jumped a block's worth of line to get in, and I got in, and that Bob was there and Paul Simon was there, and it was crazy.
That's
so
amazing.
I, like an idiot, I handed Bob like my demo tape at one point in the evening.
Wow.
And then like I guess it was like his bodyguard just took it out of Bob's hand and gave
threw
it back to me.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
But it did make a round trip to
There you
Bob
go. He
for a
touched
second.
it.
And then I stood next to him as he was interviewed. And that interview I've gone back and watched because it was part of the telecast.
Ooh.
Wow.
So I'm almost in the Bob Dylan interview.
I love that.
And I met Willie that night.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We need to get you to meet. We need to get you to Dylan. That would be nice.
I would like
fun?
to. I would like to meet Bob, but I mean, I think that anytime you meet your heroes, you're gonna be like. It's almost like cooler that I haven't,
Right.
in
I
a
get
way,
that.
That's true.
directly
Right.
met him. But it's possible, it's possible that maybe he's seen like one of my covers I've done of one of his songs because they're on YouTube. You never know.
It's true.
Like
And
Neighborhood Bully, that song off Infidels, it's had like 14,000 views on YouTube. So maybe one of them was
Wow.
Bob.
awesome.
We're going to have you do a song here in a little bit, but to finish this out, let's hear about your latest album that just came out.
Yeah, it's. I'm excited. It's called Dan. I really worked hard on the title.
Can you spell that for us, please?
The thing is, that's the beauty of it. I don't have to for your average.
Yeah.
It's
true.
And the cover, people can't see it here, but there's a reason the cover is. It's hard to explain. You'd have to Google. You'd have to Google Joyce Drake. Joyce Drake was a Christian artist in the 70s, and her album cover looks like my album cover, but it's called Joyce. So if people Google Joyce Drake, they'll see where we got the.
So that was totally
idea.
one of my
It was
questions.
a parody
Because I didn't get that. And then on the video, I'm like,
a lot of
you're
people aren't
holding
getting
the
it. I know.
Daisy the whole time.
But it made this list of worst album covers that was circulated.
Honey. I think it's super. I thought it was just being dorky. I thought there
It
was
is
some
dorky.
dorkiness to it because
It is dorky.
totally gives you that.
You
It's
guys
got
will-
a dorky vibe.
You'll be able to go to our Facebook page, and we'll have that up, and you can check it out. You sort of look like it's like
Sad.
Well, I don't want to say.
Yeah,
don't
I
wanna
Look
say
thought
that.
so.
hapless and pathetic.
I was
I
more.
thought so.
I was more looking at your chest, but that's
Yeah.
it's a nice shot of you.
It looked
Thank
like a
you.
pimp. You kind of look.
I look pimped
like
out.
Pimp. Yeah, totally. Yep.
But yeah, and that's a fake Kmart sticker. Let's
I
let's
love
hope
it.
they don't.
On the back of Kmart, our
That's
price
cool.
is $357.
May,
I love that.
May we get sued for it. It'd be the best publicity we ever
Exactly.
There you go.
This has really been an honor for us to have you
Oh,
in the
thanks.
studio.
Thank you.
We'd love for you to play a song.
Thanks. I hope I haven't, bored people to tears, and I will
No.
be glad to play a song.
Fabulous.
All right, coming up, we're going to have Dan Israel playing for us one of his songs. It's "You Don't Love Me Anymore," and we'll come back shortly.
Come out, you used to me. I have to be trying not to see. There's nothing here will salvage might as well go pawn that ring. And I'm not clueless. We can't get through this.